because we got to do the revenue.
Yes.
At the end of the day, we've got to do the revenue. You can't sacrifice but so much for so long to see if something works. We've been misled to believe that dentistry, more specifically the dental business, has to be complicated. Dentistry can be simple, and dentistry should be simple. Hey everybody, and Happy New Year, and welcome back to the Dentistry Made Simple podcast. We are live here from Studio 3D, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Meredith Cooper-Jones.
Hello, everyone. Happy 2024.
Is that what year we're in already?
Yes. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
You know, Meredith, I remember going to Miami in the year 1999 and partying for Y2K.
I remember 2000 New Year's.
And that seemed like so far away.
I was 8, but I remember.
Oh my God. Well, listen, guys, we don't want to take up too much of your day today, but we wanted to get in your ear and get in your eyesight. But listen, if you aren't watching us on YouTube, please do that. We're trying to grow our YouTube presence. We're trying to do all of those things for 2024. So your assistance on subscribing to our 3D Dentist YouTube channel would be amazing. And if you yourself aren't using YouTube, what planet are you on? I mean, that's where I don't watch TV anymore.
There's an app.
There's
an app for that.
So look, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about what to expect in 2024 and what we're doing in my dental practice, what we're doing here at 3D Dentist, kind of how we're combating what's going on for the year. So let's start by talking about the reality of uncertainty that we're in. And look, we work with hundreds and hundreds of dentists throughout the year at 3D Dentists, and I'm a practicing dentist. Sully is a practicing dentist. All of our instructors are practice owners and practicing dentists. And here's what we've seen in probably 80% of the practices that we have talked to and are working with, is that Q4 was slower than anticipated, and that in conversations with accountants, people are seeing significant pressure on bottom line profits. So that's a reality that I experienced in 2023. In 2023, my dental practice, Raleigh Dental Arts, we had our biggest year yet, in the sense that we had revenue growth of about 10%. We did about $300,000 more than we did in 2022, but we actually made less profits in 2023 than we did in 2022. Now, some of that is some investments that we made into capital equipment in our practice. Some of that is some experimental marketing that we did in the practice. You know,
cost, just
some of that, a lot of that is cost of materials and the human bearing materials. So there's you know, it's one thing when you can't explain what's happened, but it's a little bit more reassuring when you can kind of explain what's happened.
And this is something to look at too. I think a lot of times when we are a insurance driven practice, we think of the end of the year as the hustle. We are so busy. We're just trying to get all these people in, but it's like for nickels and dimes sometimes. Yeah. And so when we step back and we're not an insurance driven practice, this is the time of year people don't really want to come in. They're busy doing other things. And so it becomes a slower time of the year unless you want to revert back to some of those things that people are trying to do to get in to use their less than $500 before the end of the year.
Well, one thing that we made a mistake in our practice at is we got away from some of the things that have worked in the past. Like, for example, we didn't send out any of our emails this year asking people to reuse their benefits.
Yeah.
And so maybe that affected us. Maybe that didn't affect us. There's no way to know.
Right.
But those are some of the things I look at that we did.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about this. I just figured since you're still a practicing dentist, full-time practicing owner and dentist, and you talk to so many dentists and coach so many dentists, you see, I would say you kind of see it before the reality hits. So you could kind of talk about what you're going to do for 2024 and how you're going to set it up in Raleigh Dental Arts to kind of make some strides past what happened in 2023.
Yeah, so let's start with this. So number one is none of us can predict the future. If you watch CNBC,
Wait, what? I thought you could. Just
I'm not Dionne Warwick
secret.
with the psychopathic hotline.
Yeah.
But, if you watch CNBC, they'll have one person on that says 2024 is going to be a crash.
Yeah.
You have the next person on that says 2024 is going to be an amazing year.
Yeah.
And so what I've learned, having gone through 2 or 3 of these in my career, is that you have to shut it all out. You've got to shut it out, okay? And I like to use a saying that my dad uses with me all the time is we have no choice,
Right.
okay? We have to have a growth mindset. So that means that we have to continue to invest. We have to continue to keep our mind open. We have to continue to cycle forward
Right.
because we have no choice,
Yes.
okay? Now, what that also means to me from a reality is that will likely mean that I won't necessarily get some of the same profit on this growth that I've experienced in the past, just like I did,
Right.
like I didn't get in 2023.
Yes.
Okay, so we have to understand that we have no choice but to grow because we have to grow because everything's going to continue to cost more.
We'll have to make more to make a little
Yeah,
bit more.
exactly.
We'll have to make a lot more. We'll have to do a lot more to make a little bit more.
Yeah, and so that
That's
part
fair.
doesn't change,
Yeah.
okay? So we have to keep that growth mindset. So if what we can't do is we can't go into this starvation hoarding mentality where we're just cutting. We can't go into that. So we have to have a growth mindset and have the mentality that maybe we're going to make a little bit less. And if we don't, if we make more, that's
Then great.
amazing.
Yeah.
And here's the reality. If you have the growth mindset and things do pick up amazingly well in 2024, it's only
You're
going to
ahead of
be
the game.
it's only going to be fuel on the fire, right? It's only going to be even that much more amazing. And this is the mistake I made in 2008, 2009 is I didn't have that growth mindset. I had that savings mindset and it took me a long time to get out of that.
Right. To invest back in yourself and keep moving forward.
So let's kind of walk through what we're doing in our practice. The first thing I look at is where did my growth come from in 2022 to 2023, okay? The majority of my growth in our practice came from our surgical growth in our practice, okay? And what caused that surgical growth? And that was a significant investment in marketing for surgical cases. In our case, full arch dental implants. So we spent, in my opinion, a lot of money on that, but we got a lot of revenue from that.
Right.
Now, along the way throughout the year, I just kind of kept pouring into it and not necessarily keeping really close eye on what's working, what's not working. And then by the end of the year, I was spending close to $20,000 a month on marketing throughout 4 or 5 different venues.
Right.
Okay. So what I'm doing now is we're taking a closer look at what venues are working, where we saw spikes, what months we saw spikes in, what months to maybe turn down the juice next year, what months to turn the juice in for next year. Like I've noticed
certain times of year we're definitely busy.
Yeah, so again, if I'm spending $12K a month in pay-per-click marketing, and we knew that in 2022 and in 2023, December wasn't that useful,
right?
Then maybe I should take some of that $12K. We got to keep some of it in the December marketing, but maybe I'll take some of that. Maybe I'll take half that money, $6,000, let's say, and I'll stick it into a few other months throughout the year that we had good results.
Yeah, like August, September, people are like, I want to get this done before the holidays, before I have to see all my family again. People aren't like, beat me up and let me not eat for Christmas. That would be great.
So that's some of the things that we're looking at there. I'm looking at some direct mail marketing that we're still doing.
Yeah.
And I know many of you listening may be like, direct mail, does that even work? And the truth is it does work, but we're seeing less effectiveness in some of our direct mail
than past years.
Yeah, absolutely. 2023 was significantly less return on our direct mail marketing than any previous year that we've had.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean I cut it out necessarily. That means I have to fine tune the messaging.
Right.
Maybe we need to change what we're saying in our direct mail, what we're promoting, or where and who we're sending this to, or it's a matter of, maybe it's time to cut that out.
Yeah.
And maybe reinvest that money to somewhere else. The other thing that we started in 2023 is for the first time in all my career is we started putting money into SEO. And for me, the challenge with SEO is I spend a little bit of money and we don't know when that returns, and it's a long-term strategy. So that may be something that, hey, I cut some of that budget and put it into something else. So one of the things I haven't looked at in the past is influencer marketing. Maybe that's something I should look at for somebody, that's
for cosmetics, but I don't know if you can find an influencer that has no teeth.
Right. I was going to say, for me, wanting to do a lot of surgical cases, but for the practice, we do want to do more cosmetics. We do want to do more tongue ties. We do want to do more of that stuff. So maybe some of this money, I'm not trying to cut the money.
Right.
My message is
Just different, move it.
I want to move it around.
Yeah,
I want to try things, but I want to try it and have a limit. Say, hey, we're gonna commit for 3 months, but at the end of 3 months, if we're not seeing this, this, and this, we got to cut it.
Right. So that's actually what I was going to ask you is what is your timeline? 3 months, 6 months of how you know if something's going to work? Because I had a doctor I talked to the other day, and he said, I've poured all this money into marketing for 3 months and I've seen zero return.
Yeah. So I would say that 3 months should be enough to see something return.
Okay.
Like if I'm putting money into something for 3 months, I'm getting nothing. Yeah. Nothing back.
It's not going to go from zero to way better in another couple months.
Yeah, but let's define some return. Like, am I seeing more leads?
Right.
Am I seeing more calls?
Right, because where's the problem? Maybe it's within the office.
And this is not for today, okay?
Right.
In fact, we should record a podcast talking about and if I'm sure we've talked about it. The problem may be that they're sending me all the leads, but we're not doing a good job with the leads.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I'm doing is I'm fine-tuning our marketing budget and where we're spending the money. I'm looking at it extremely close, and I'm having to have difficult conversation with people I've worked with for many years at my marketing companies about this is what I'm seeing. Hey, look, here's the reality. If this doesn't change, I got to make a change.
Right.
Okay, so it's on you to come to me with solutions. But if you leave it to me to come with solutions, I'm probably going to try something different. So that's kind of whether it's a different company, a different tactic, a different venue, something is going to change.
Right.
Something's going to change.
Yeah. And that's being ahead of the game.
Yeah, I have to be. And I would argue that I should have probably done this 3, 4, 5 months ago, but I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
And many of you listening may not have even thought about that. Or some of us are pouring money into marketing that we've added $500 here, $500 here, $500 here over the years. And we just don't even know if it's where we forgot who's even doing it.
We're dabbling in a lot of different things. And that's hard if you're not focused or all in with one thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like anything.
Yeah. You got to be focused.
So what are your plans for keeping your team engaged, training your team, leveling up, and keeping, helping to get your team to take some of this off your plate?
I'm not going to have my team take any of the marketing off my plate. I want to be directly involved in working with our partners because we're talking about a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely. So when we start talking about a few $100s on dabbling in social media and stuff like that, no big deal. They can handle that. When we start getting to $1,000, in my case, $20,000 a month, I want to be, as an owner, I want to be in control of that. But one thing that...
But if you're going to be doing more cases, you're going to have to be doing less somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
And so one of the things that I am redoing in our practice, again, for those of you that have listened to a long time, I'm a big believer in the fundamentals. The fundamentals should always be focused on, and almost always when something starts going sideways for me, when I go back to the fundamentals, things start coming back on track and start making progress. So one of the areas that are fundamentals that I got away with in 2022 and 2023 was my team training phone calls and video recording. We record every call that comes in and out of our practice on our voice over IP phone system.
Yes.
So if you are a practice owner or you're working in a practice and your practice doesn't have the ability to record their inbound and outbound calls quite easily, you need to make a change there. You need to upgrade to a modern system we've been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah.
So, but you need to do that.
And this is for training purposes. This is just to be able to talk about things. How can this be better? Feedback. It's to get better. It's not to make anyone upset or hurt anyone's feelings. It's to help them grow.
Maybe that too.
Yeah,
Yes,
but I mean, at the end of the day,
yeah.
it's in a
It's growth.
positive way.
Absolutely. The goal is to
Yeah,
be positive,
right.
right? So I've pre-scheduled every Tuesday morning at
Yeah.
8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. I'm going to sit with my administrative, my business team, and we are going to randomly listen to inbound calls and outbound calls and do some coaching around these calls. Now, when I did this back in 2019, 2020, I saw a tremendous improvement in my front office team, and I saw tremendous insight into what's really happening on the phone in my practice. And I was proud, but I was also terribly disappointed in some of the things that were going on. But I didn't blame the people.
Right.
I said, you know what, this is on me. I never listened. I never put the time into it. So let's get back to doing the phone
Yeah.
calls. So
And that's definitely the hardest for the doctor because being up front is nearly impossible throughout the day when you're seeing patients.
yeah, but for me to schedule 1 hour a week
Right.
from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock or 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock,
Right.
these are going to be non-office hours for me, non-clinical hours for me.
Yeah.
So I'll be there from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock every Tuesday morning reviewing these phone calls. And the next part of this will be video recordings. I have set up non-discrete video monitors in our consult room and in a couple of our operatories. Now, you need to look into your state laws about consent on these things. Again, these are focused on my team members, not on the patient. And really, what I'm looking at is the conversation that's happening between the patient and our team members. So again, on these Tuesday mornings between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock, I can start coaching on what's happening in our consultations, what's happening in our financial presentations, what's happening in those things, so I can start getting better. Because why is this important? This team training is important because I got to get my team better. That doesn't mean they're bad. It just means we got to get better. And if we don't have team members that want to get better, if they're going, frankly speaking, if my team members are going to be against this type of coaching, they're not the right team members. And then that will tell me something different in that I need to make changes into the attitudes that we have in some of the people in our practice. But I don't anticipate that being an issue in our practice. But we got to get better because incremental growth on existing patients, on existing team members is way better than trying to redo our whole process, get new team members, trying to do more and more marketing to redo our entire practice. I'd rather dedicate time and look, 1 hour a week is nothing, okay? 1 hour a week, dedicated, not, hey, let's make some time, let's do it at lunch. Because
stop by when you can.
That doesn't work.
Right.
Okay, so we've got dedicated every Tuesday morning from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock that we're going to review phone calls and we're going to review video recordings from our consults and our financial presentation so that we can get better. The other area of technology is getting more and more vertically integrated. We are spending more time and energy and resources in being able to drive technology at a higher degree in our practice. For us, our big goal for 2024 is in-office zirconia milling and firing. So that way we can do, we're already doing our onesie-twosie restorations using same-day CAD-CAM dentistry. We happen to use CEREC in our practice, but we still have to send a lot to the lab for full arch cases, for bridges, for, multi-unit cases.
But the key is we have the technology.
We have the technology now. We haven't dedicated I bought the technology mid-year with mid-year
intentions
with
to
the intentions,
get it going.
but busyness got in the way. Remember, I always often talk about busyness as the enemy.
Well, I know a lot of people have all this technology, but they're just using about half of it to its capacity, or only half their team knows how to use it. And so sometimes it's almost useless if you have all this stuff, but you're not using it to its full capacity.
It's not smart.
Yeah. It's working harder, not smarter.
So we're dedicating time to doing that. And that means that we spend money taking training. We go to classes. That's what we do here. In our case, some of the classes is through 3D Dentist. Some of the classes are through alternative organizations. I mean, we're 3D dentists is
do it
not
all.
everything. We don't want to be everything.
Yeah.
We don't want to teach everything. We want to teach very focused, growth-minded. We're a very growth-oriented training center. So we want to teach technology. We want to teach team member using technology. And so we want to be able to offer unique offerings to our marketplace, overnight smile makeovers, faster, less expensive, more profitable dentistry. And so to do that, we've got to move towards having more vertical integration. And I'm a big believer in single visit, same day restorations. Now I've got to be a big believer in being faster. Some of the things I want to do can't be done in a single visit.
Right.
But we want to have more control over that from one, a time perspective, and two, a cost perspective. So that way
and that factors into case acceptance as well.
100%.
We can get this done for you before the end of the year versus somebody else who's going to be like 2-3 months out.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be honest if I didn't say that we're getting back to our 4 3D fundamentals.
Yes.
Right. I keep pounding this message. Photography. And look, our problem isn't taking the photos. Our team is very know that they got to take the photo.
Right.
But the second
using
part
them.
is using them.
Yeah, just like
and how
having the
to use them.
technology.
Yeah, and so how to use them and how they're using them differently with me versus with our associate partners in the practice,
Right.
and training them, the other dentists, on what their expectations should be, when to walk out of the room and be like, I'll come back when you actually take a better photo or quality photo.
Yeah.
So that way we can lead by example there. Our communication skills. And the beauty of all of these team training and fundamentals is it's pretty low cost.
Right.
From an external perspective, it's a time cost, but it's pretty low cost.
Some YouTube videos, an afternoon, some pizza.
Yeah, our online training.
Yeah.
And then consistency.
I'm just thinking, I was thinking photos directly.
Yeah, of course. But but consistency is the key. You can't do this every so often.
Right.
You got to have same bat, Howard Ferran taught me, same bat channel, same bat time.
Yeah.
We know that every second Wednesday of every month is our team training. I think
Right.
we've moved it for 2024. But, I know that every Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock is team training with the front office team. And then our communication skills, how we're, and that team training on phone and consults and financial presentation, that's part of communication. But dedicated time with a hygienist on communication skills, reviewing cases, walking me through what do you see here, what do you not see, what questions do you have, where are you uncomfortable, what do you need to know about these, how do you want to explain these things. Our financial menu. Utilizing our financial menu. I'll give you some examples. We know that third-party financing is so important. The challenge there is the banks are tightening up.
Yeah.
So instead of just saying, oh, the banks are tightening up, what can I do about it?
Right.
I want us to look at alternative.
Let's try other options.
What are alternative methods of financing? Okay. What else can we do? Can we, asking. Look, it all boils down to asking the tough questions. Have you thought about a cosigner? Have you considered doing some of it through your bank and some of it throughout third-party financing?
Yeah. Do you have a mortgage?
Do you have a home equity, a HELOC that you can do? All these things that we feel so uncomfortable doing. But at the end of the day, if you believe, which I believe, that the dentistry that we're offering our patients is quality dentistry, that is life improving, and that they need and want this, then why would I not want them to afford this? Because the alternative is they're going to go spend money on stupid stuff.
Right. And I think sometimes we take for granted the fact that we all have great teeth. Like there's literally not one person working in any of our practices who has no teeth.
Yeah.
So we don't know what it feels like. But if you had no teeth, I would do anything for teeth.
I know Meredith's dying to get some veneers.
Yes. And I have good working teeth. Could you imagine if I didn't have teeth?
And on the scheduling side, we may have to go a little bit backwards in 2024.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it backwards. We may have to make adjustments in 2024. Maybe instead of so many, I call it boom or bust blocks.
Well, we've
maybe I
talked
don't
about-
do boom or bust in 2024. Maybe instead of saying let's keep this block until one day before, maybe I make it 3 days before because we got to do the revenue.
Yes.
At the end of the day, we've got to do the revenue. You can't sacrifice but so much for so long to see if something works.
That way the systems and the fundamentals are still there. We're just stretching kind of we're shifting how we're doing them.
Yeah, it's revisioning.
But the
We're
blocks are
iterating.
still there. We're not just like, we're not filling the blocks, so we're just going to be a free-for-all.
No, absolutely not. It shouldn't be that, right?
Yes.
So Meredith's looking at me because, our practice is like every practice. It has ups and downs. So that is something that we want to get completely better at there. The last thing I'm doing at the practice is I'm doing cost controls. Now, those of you that heard me talk, I talk about comma mentality versus decimal mentality. And I often talk that decimal mentality deserves minimal to no attention. And that is true when things are amazing. When we're consistently growing, when everything's just working, focusing on the decimals doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if I'm profiting the same or less on more revenue, I can't keep spending money without understanding where the money is being spent.
Yes.
And taking a closer look at, am I wasting money? Are we wasting money on consulting? Are we wasting money on education? Are we wasting money on subscriptions? Are we wasting money on, like at our office, we have Hulu, we have Netflix, we have HBO Max, we have all these things. And at some point I'm like, do people even notice or care?
Or disposables that could be reusable.
Right. Or have we had the tough conversation with our distribution rep that we have to be, more. I had a tough conversation with my implant rep.
Yeah.
That we have got. I want to keep less quantity. I used to keep like 150 implants. In the office. Now I want to keep about 100 implants in the office.
Right.
And that's still a lot.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, but for
I
the
don't think
volume,
you'll ever not have what you need.
right? Exactly.
If you need it, you can get it.
So some of the luxuries.
Yes.
I'm going to tie it on. Now, some of that money I will keep, but a lot of those savings I'm going to pour back into the office.
Right.
And that's what I did. That's what I plan on doing differently in 2024 than what I did in 2009. In 2009, when I went through this cost control,
save.
I hoarded all the money because I was afraid.
Scared. Yeah.
And I should have put more money into the growth of the practice. And then I'm going to have tough conversations with team members that the money doesn't exist anymore to keep growing their pay. Like we've reached a point where I can't give you more on a base salary basis. We can earn more.
Yes.
There's never a limit to how much we can earn.
And that's through the bonus structure that's been set up. That's
through our non-production bonus structure.
Yeah.
That's through our production bonus structure. That's through doing all the things.
Right.
Like we just can't show up and have low energy.
Right.
And we can't have low T at the office. We got to have good energy.
LAE.
LAE.
Lame ass energy.
Lame ass energy.
You've never heard that?
I listen to podcasts. I don't listen to music.
I mean, I don't know that that's on. I guess it's on. I don't know, maybe TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't watch TV. I TikTok, and that's where I learn it all. See?
I do
I don't
YouTube.
even need to know the news.
I do YouTube. It all shows up there.
Yeah. So we've kind of talked about a lot of the things you are going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about some of the things you're not going to do, or what are you going to say no to in the practice?
Yeah. So I'm going to continue to say no to things that don't make money.
Yes.
Okay. And I always hesitate and cringe a little bit when I say something like that because I don't want people to think that I'm all money driven.
I want to say some of it doesn't bring you, it doesn't make you happy either.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make money.
I got to pay the bills first.
I think if it made you a lot of money and you weren't super happy, you'd still do it. But for things that don't make you happy and don't make money, that's like an easy.
So I'm doubling down on no removables in the practice.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, I've gotten to the point where I think, we don't do any removables at our office anymore unless it's implant related.
Right.
Okay. I'll make a denture because it's a setup for a full arch case. But I'm doubling down on what doesn't make money.
And one of those, I want to mention this because a lot of times what I hear is people are like, well, I present an implant and then the other associate, will go in and present a
bridge.
Yeah, a bridge or a denture or whatever it is. And it's kind of like ortho, right? We started referring out more cases when we started doing more ortho because you're looking for it. And so we've started doing more implants and less removables since all of our associates have taken implant training.
Yeah.
Because they're looking for it. They know what to look for. They know they're more comfortable diagnosing. It's like sleep apnea. People always leave out their hygienists in the training. And I'm like, they're the ones who see the most patients, who give you all the referrals. But if they're not trained and they're not comfortable talking about it, they're not going to bring it up to patients because they can't answer questions. So I think associates feel the same way. If they can't answer the questions about the implants, they don't feel comfortable diagnosing it for you.
Yeah, because they don't know anything about it, right? So that's an important point.
Yeah.
Is you got to invest in your people.
That's what I've seen in our practice.
To even learn something that they don't intend to do.
Right. Yeah. And maybe that's just to do the didactic portion so you're comfortable and that helps the practice grow.
Yeah.
And that's a team thing.
So one of the things we teach in our mastermind, once you get to an advanced level in the mastermind, is we do an procedural inventory exercise, where we look at how many of a procedure did we do for the year, what kind of revenue did it take, how many visits did we walk through each step of that procedure, how much time we spend on that, how much doctor time, how much assistant time, and then when we calculate a dollar per hour to do this procedure, and it's pretty eye-opening for a lot of people. And I'm going to consistently say no to those procedures that fall at the bottom of it.
Right.
Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, one of the things we are looking at is what are we saying no to and referring out in our practice that does make money or that does build the business. So one of the things that we've referred out for 24 years in our practice has been third molars. Mm-hmm. And again, we don't refer out a lot, but we probably refer out 4 or 5 cases a month.
At least.
That's 10 grand.
In December, it's probably 10.
Yeah. So
all the college kids, and one's your child.
One of them was my son. But that's 8 to 10 grand a month.
Yeah.
That we're referring out. So
that could be done in like one morning, right?
Maybe. Again, yes. The answer is yes, right? But I don't want to do those cases.
Right.
But I have an associate partner who does want to do those cases.
Yeah.
So, I talked to him about, hey, we need to get IV sedation training for you.
Yeah.
You need to get comfortable. And I set up some training for him for third molars. And so, we want to say yes to those procedures, right?
Absolutely.
And so I also look at how many endos did we refer out? I'm having a frank conversation with our associate partners about, look, we referred out this much endo. Okay, if you're going to say you want to make more money in 2024, at the end of the day, you have to do something too. It can't be just, hey, I'm going to keep spending money to drive more patients. I got to also look at a business. This is what you're giving away because you don't know how to do this procedure.
Yes.
So either accept the result or learn how to do this procedure, but you got to learn how to do it competently, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
So those are things that we're doing. And frankly speaking, the reason I think this is an important part, and I hope you stuck around, for those of you that stuck around this long in the episode.
I know, we didn't mean for it to be this long.
But 2008, 2009 was a pivotal year in my dental career. I've seen the most growth from the investments and mindset I put in 2008, 2009. And while I started learning how to do everything I was referring out. And it has paid dividend after dividend after dividend after dividend for my career and my business. I learned how to do endo at a high level. I learned how to do aligner orthodontics at a good level. Yeah. I learned how to do surgical cases. I learned how to implant. And then that led down blah, 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 blah. I learned sleep apnea at that point in time. I looked at all these things that we were saying no to on existing patients.
Yes.
And I learned how to do them because I needed to grow my practice. I had no choice.
And then from there, you can still pick and choose the cases you want to do based on cases in your schedule.
Yeah.
And then you can still refer out. And like I said, when you're looking for them, you end up referring way more out than you were before.
I'd like to say that a little bit differently than you made it.
Okay.
The luxury I have today of picking and choosing was done from the hard work of learning what to say no to and what to stop saying no to and putting in the time and effort. And honestly, I had to do things I didn't love doing, but I learned to enjoy them when I found out how to do them pretty efficiently, systematically.
Right.
They became simple. Endo, I hated endo.
Right.
Endo has become super predictable for me because I took the right training.
Yeah.
Now, all that being said, let me end with a commercial message.
Well, I wanted to say, for example, Sully has a new associate. We just did our endo training in September, and she graduated in May, and she's done like 26 or 36 endos.
And didn't do any before that.
Right. in the practice. And that has been, they were referring endo out with 5 doctors. She's the 6th doctor, but with 5 doctors, they were pretty much referring all the endo out. So she's been able to take on what she feels comfortable with and refer out the rest. And it's been huge for her and what value she's brought to the practice.
Yeah. And I think that's a great segue into our commercial message. Look, not all dental education is made the same. Some dental education places, they teach amazing concepts, okay? And they teach amazing clinical skills. But here's the reality. They don't teach you how to do the business of these procedures. Why did Sully's associate do so well with endo? Because we came in and we didn't say, these aren't the cases you do. We came in and said, look, we want to teach you how to do 60 to 70% of the cases. This is what we do. This is how we do it. Okay, this is why we use technology. These are the things we look out for. And then boom, it's a positive teaching.
Profitable.
Yeah, it's like, it's
predictable.
It's not like how small can you make your access to look great on Instagram. It's like, look, this is what we got to do do amazing work for our patients and to be profitable and do good business and to do good clinical dentistry.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes 3D dentists so different. I don't want to say better, but it's better than everybody else, is that we are practical.
Realistic.
We are practice. Oh, look, I've been doing this in the trenches for 25 years now. Okay. You know, Rick Sullivan's been doing this for 30 some years, 40 years now almost. We all own and work and we're teaching exactly what we're doing in our practice. Okay. So it's what makes us different. So look, you're going to spend money on education in 2024. I want you to spend with 3D dentists if it's the right fit for you, if we're the right cultural fit for you, if we're the right mindset fit for you, and if it's the right procedural fit for you, then we want to be with you. And it's going to be an amazing year for our profession. And those of you that have a we have no choice, growth-minded mindset, you're going to make an amazing 2024. And even if it isn't your best year ever, you're going to lay the groundwork to accelerate unlike everybody else, like beyond everybody else, because you're going to have a we have no choice growth mindset for 2024. Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. Happy New Year.
We don't have any confetti, but happy 2024.
Happy 2024, everybody.